Hello. Oh, wow. All right. Um, this is basically, let's go like that. Expand. Um, my first live stream on Facebook. My legal name is Kenneth Wheeler. I'm discussing what's going on in my life. I'm a psychic. I'm a United States intelligence officer. I'm a United States Marine in the United States Clandestine Services. So, um, no idea if you're getting this or not. Yeah. So yeah. Uh, Here we'll go like that, and hopefully you'll still be getting me. What? You can. Okay. Keyframe rate too low. Current keyframe rate is too low. Recommended your keyframe rate is in the range of 2 to 4 seconds. Please set frame rate to 15 to 60 per second. Learn more. Oh shit! What the fuck just happened right there? All right, let's go to settings. Stream. Latency. I have no idea where I'm supposed to look. Um, yeah, I have no idea what the fuck all that means. There's a lot of shit. Okay, well, we will find out if I will fucking, how do I get back to this? Unmute. Alright, unmute. Oh shit. I have no idea how I do this now. Okay, so, yeah. Well, I hear me on these headphones, so that means something. Alright, a whole bunch of shit just happened. I don't know what that means. Let's see if I can what we leave the live stream will end. No. Okay, well, here we are. This is what I'm doing. This is my first Facebook live stream. Too low FPS. Your current frame rate is too low. Please set frame rate. Alright, motherfucker, how the fuck do I do that? Okay. Frame rate. Requirements for Facebook video live. Technical special. Key frame rates recommended 4 seconds do not exceed. How the fuck do I do that? Okay, I don't even know what the fuck that means. We're going with it. We will find out later, alright? So, um, here I am. I'm a psychic. I'm an intelligence officer. I don't have much going on. I'm trying to get proof that I serve the United States Constitution, that I'm in the United States Marine Corps, and that I'm real, you know? I report the Uvalde school shooting before it happened to the Denver City Council. I interrupted a Denver City Council meeting, and it was live streamed. I told them about the Uvalde school shooter. I went into a federal court building a block away. Yeah, it's separate. We're separated by one block. What do you call it? One block, 2 blocks. We're separated by one block. And from the federal court clerk's office, I I called the principal of the Robb Elementary School, and reported the what I knew. I told him that my name's Kenneth Royal Wheeler. I'm a United States intelligence officer. I'm calling from the court clerk's office. And I didn't know the actual address, and then the people there gave the address. I repeated it, gave the address and the name of the building, because I gave like the general location. Like we're at the corner of 19th and Stout, or Curtis, and yeah. And then yeah, dude. I left a voicemail with the principal saying, I have a intelligence report in my hand, which was a handwritten document I wrote that I mailed to the head federal judge in Texas and the head FBI agent, special agent, whoever the fuck in Texas. So, with that said, I called from the phone in the office of the federal courthouse, and it was a conference call. The federal government was there recording it, and I stated, "My name's Kenneth Royal Wheeler. I'm a United States intelligence officer. I have in my hand an intelligence report stating that there is a possible suspected terrorist attack, active terrorist shooting at the Robb Elementary School, Uvalde, Texas. The suspected shooter is a young Hispanic male, late teens, early 20s, possibly recently lost his job, possibly recently acquired an assault rifle, does not live alone, possibly lives with family members, um, possibly attended the Robb Elementary School itself, has the last name of somebody who either attends or works there, um, possibly has a relative attending there or working there." All right, so I said all that, and people don't believe me and they think I'm crazy. And I'm like, what is this? How is this real? How am I crazy if I'm out there doing what I can to tell the truth and nobody wants to pay attention? So there's a judge, Adam Espinoza. There's like several prosecutors, such as Corey Dillon. All right, so Corey Dillon and Adam Espinoza, they target me for my eye color. Corey Dillon stabbed me with a syringe, basically almost murdered me, caused a chemically induced stroke, fucked with me, hardcore. And I mentioned to the judge, and the judge was like, fuck you, and called me the blue eyed N word, like the N word that rhymes with figure, but N word, Not figure skating, but N word hating. And they called me a blue eyed N word. Instead of that, they hated me. And and then there's not only that, there's me reporting Uvalde, all right, and then me getting into an hour long argument with the um, judge about the Uvalde school shooting before it happened. I did what I could to report it. I reported it to the Denver City Council before it happened. I told them everything I just told you, young Hispanic male, late teens, early 20s, recently lost job, lives with family, recently acquired assault rifle, possibly went to the school, has last name of somebody who possibly attends the school or works there, um, is related to somebody who either attends there or works there. And all that repeatedly, over and over and over, from one spot to the next, to the next, to the next, from the Denver City Council to letters handwritten to federal judge in Texas, federal, what do you call that? FBI agent, calling the principal at the Robb Elementary School, leaving a voicemail. Remember, I left a fucking voicemail. Um, and then the judge, getting into it with the judge for an hour long, saying, "Yo, dude, if you guys drop the ball, your name's on this. Think about this. You got to make sure you're there and you don't drop the ball." Look how this is. And the judge sent out tens of thousands of all point bulletins that I printed up, facts, put out everywhere. My face, my identifying information, my name, my birthday, my social security number, my address, stating I live here and I am headed to the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. And yeah, dude. And the judge did all that before he even had a talk with me because I was trying to stop the Robb Elementary School massacre from even happening. And I have a history of reporting things before they happen, and the government records it. What do you call that? Columbine, um, Sandy Hook, James Holmes, Uvalde. And I reported Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad, Pakistan, in 2004. Yeah, and I called the federal government from my dorm room. It was honestly on the corner of Elm Street, all right, and some other street I can't remember. And I attended Mesa State College. I called FBI, Homeland Security in Grand Junction, Colorado, Denver, Colorado, and Washington D.C. And they all told me to keep calling the others. So I did it over and over to say, hey, this is what's going on. I'm calling you to tell you that it's in Abbottabad, Pakistan, and I gave the general direction that you would go from the Pakistani West Point. Yeah, so that's what happened, and that was in 2004. I think it was in April or prior to April, March, April, May, March. All right, I have no fucking clue, dude. No, it could have been April. Could have been who? Who the fuck knows, dude? Because they do. The government knows. Actually, yeah, the government knows, dude. Easily, the government knows. So then I've been dealing with this bullshit over and over, and they've been calling me a felon to cover up their impotencies to adequately perform their duties, and their requirements, and their oaths, and their affirmations of their offices. And so here I am, um, questioning, and more than questioning. Words cannot describe the mental seeking and outreaching I'm searching for. Uh, so, like, how is this real? The judge, he pulled a gun on me, all right? Adam Espinoza, he pulled a gun on me. And he was like, hey, if you don't, I'm going to shoot you if you don't say you're going to go home to elementary school. And I was like, hoorah, fuck you. Part of my language is that's offensive. I'm just quoting what happened that the judge invoked from pointing a gun at me, which is easily 7 years in a federal prosecution. So right there, I question why is this judge Adam Espinoza not being prosecuted by the federal government for aid and comfort to the enemy? He knew about Uvalde before it happened. He pointed a gun at the only person willing to travel and stop it, me. And so here I am asking what is going on? How is this real? What possible reality can a creature, anybody who's sentient and has love and honor and emotion, just be like ignored repeatedly? Some would say that a conspiracy takes two or more. If there's a pattern or a history, it takes two or more. Well, here in the state of Colorado, I repeatedly have reported. Um, Let's take a look. The first 9/11, where they bombed it with a U-Haul truck, the actual 9/11 and 9/11, before 9/11, where it was Columbine. All right, then there was, what do you call that? A couple of things. What is that? Nickel Mines, Pennsylvania, the Amish people who were harmed in that school. The James Holmes massacre at the Century 16 movie theater. Oh wait, I also reported Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan, Uvalde. Um, yeah, did I say Sandy Hook? I don't even remember them all. All right. So I keep reporting to the authorities in the state of Colorado and the federal government that's located here in what some would consider the state of Colorado, or easily considered by the federal government the District of Colorado. All right, so here I am, and I continue to report what I know adequately, effectively to whatever form of law enforcement, whatever form of government that I can possibly reach out to. And instead of being recognized as a Marine, as a United States intelligence officer, I'm recognized as fucking nothing. I'm recognized as poo thrown off to the side. Part of my language again, if uh, my dry mouth produce a misinterpretation of the word funking. Phunging. Funking. All right. So, anyways, let me drink some water. So this is for my first live stream, right? And this live stream is on Facebook, and I'm trying to like produce information and throw it out there that says, "Hey, I reported the Uvalde school shooting before it happened. Um, Now I'm being prosecuted." A prosecutor told me that the state of Colorado, the people of the state of Colorado, are always going to prosecute me to show support for school shootings. All right. So what do I do? Um, how do I get some form of authoritative body, the law, to represent the law? How do I get the Marine Corps to uphold their oath and affirmation against all threats, foreign and domestic, such as the government of the people of the state of Colorado, the people of the state of Colorado, whatever you call these entities, these officers of the court, these judges, these lawyers, these public defenders, these police, these deputies, these law enforcement, these peace officers who are continuing to fail at adequately performing and upholding their oaths of their offices and their duties that are required by law. And they just shrug it off, and then now they try to prosecute me to show support for the harm of innocent American school children. They've had hate parades here that show the support of the Uvalde school shooter before the Uvalde school shooting happened, and then they had hate parades to show support for the Uvalde school shooting after the Uvalde school shooting happened. And then, not only that, you also have a place called the View House, which I think it's, what is that, 5339 or 2339, material aid and support to terrorism. They violate when they walk around having their little armbands for ISIS. You know, so, and those people attack me, and then I get prosecuted. And I'm like, where's the United States Marine Corps? Where is everything that is of honor and courage and commitment that I've given an oath to, that I stood up for, that I fought for? I fought for a lot, all right? In my mind, I did. In my mind, I recognize myself as somebody who has taken part in serving the United States Constitution in a combat manner and in an intelligence manner. Intelligence gatheration, surveying, assessing, reporting, and engaging. Yeah, so intelligence surveying, and so intelligence assessing, intelligence reporting, intelligence engaging. You know, and that's just the way it is sometimes. And in my mind and in my heart, I've committed these duties and these actions against all threats, foreign and domestic. And I feel as if I am not being recognized in my servitude and the honor and courage and commitment that I've already conducted within reality, that I've ran at, not away, that I've earned medals of honor, plural, medals of honor given to me by the Congress, the government, recognized by various people in reality who can consider themselves not just generals, they can consider themselves popes, prime ministers, presidents, kings, queens. And here I am, left. Uh, Amongst those that have had hate parades supporting the harm of American school children. Here I am left amongst those who target me for my eye color. I have felonies, or no, currently a felony that has actually been sealed and expunged repeatedly due to my eye color. I had a federal felony for a Facebook comment that did not occur in America, that did not occur um, within the jurisdiction of America, did not contain a threat, did not contain a crime. Yet I was convicted of interstate threatening communications in a federal court, and the judge repeatedly called me the blue-eyed N-word. And that judge is, I think it's William J. Espino or William J. Martinez, or whoever, William Martinez. All right, yeah, and so William J. Martinez, or just whoever, William Martinez. I can't remember his name. Uh, repeatedly called me derogatory racial slurs and repeatedly informed me that what I'm being accused of and prosecuted for is not even a crime. It didn't happen in America, and he can't understand how it's occurring, but everybody involved hates me for my eye color, so he's letting it slide. Him himself, you know? And so I went to prison, federal prison, for something I did not do. I appealed it. I won my appeal in circuit court. Then the federal government appealed that circuit court decision to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled in my favor. I motioned to seal and expunge my record, and it was upheld. To the best of my knowledge, it was upheld to the Supreme Court. Then somehow the state of Colorado ignores the federal government overruling jurisdiction and says that they don't have to recognize that my record has been sealed and expunged. And this is after my state of Colorado record has been sealed and expunged twice by Judge Brian Flynn. All right. And again, I was prosecuted for my eye color. Allegedly, I was convicted of use of a stun gun. I was charged with multiple violent felonies, from first degree use of a deadly weapon, class 2, aggravated offense. I was facing 92 or 94 years. They offered me a 20-year plea bargain, and all I had was a taser in my dorm room when terrorists committed a home invasion against me. There was a poison gassing that I survived. I executed at least one terrorist. Some say half a dozen or more. I know I executed at least one terrorist. Um, and then made it into my dorm room and called, if that's an offense or a guideline violation, I apologize for such words and verbosive activity of factual reality. Um, so then what would you call that? Uh, I called the authorities, you know, and then when the authorities showed up, I got arrested, and they separated every little thing they could. They covered up everything, and so they arrested me and prosecuted me for possession of a taser. And yeah, you know, it was a sham trial. The jury found me not guilty. Then the judge ordered that the jury's family be harmed. The jury's family was harmed, and then the judge just ruled me guilty. And then I was sent to prison. Well, first I was given 10 years of probation. I missed a probation meeting on a Wednesday, but I showed up on a Friday. That's because 2005, October 3rd, Monday, I was renditioned and interrogated at the Pentagon. Um, and so all that occurred so much over and over. Just well, not the rendition and interrogating at the Pentagon, the covering up and the denial and the targeting me for my eye color over and over and over. I just don't understand how it could be that way. And the government was just like, oh, well, what are you going to do? And I was like, well, what can I do? Here I am being an honorable Marine, and you're treating me with disrespect, and you're not even recording my servitude and service to the United States Constitution. How could you? And they just called me a blue-eyed N-word. you know. And so, what do I do when there are those who check that your camera and microphone input properly work? Okay, they look like it. Yeah. So yeah. I have no idea sometimes what to say, where to go, or how to conduct myself in a reality that is not facilitating an open repository of record, that doesn't have any association to factual reality, and is just constantly with a belief system that I'm a criminal, not an intelligence officer. My qualified immunity is nothing, my diplomatic immunity is nothing, and my association to the United States Constitution is nothing and or less than nothing. And they don't even care that I put so much effort and energy in protecting the United States Constitution against all threats, foreign and domestic. And then the government just shows up and says, "Oh, hey, we can just destroy your entire ability to to, to exist because of my eye color. That I can no longer get a job." I was informed this by Judge Brian Flynn, who repeatedly informed me that due to my eye color, I am now a felon, that I can no longer get a job anywhere in America due to my eye color, and that it's always going to follow me. And the only chance I have is to leave. And I'm like, wow, they told me to go to North Korea. They told me to go to Russia. Back when the Soviet Union, they told me to go to the Soviet Union. So this oppression and treason and terrorism and mutiny and insurrection that is constantly going at me is just wrong and should no longer ever be allowed. And so I'm requesting aid and comfort from the United States Marine Corps. I mean, think about how um, I have to go through competency evaluation. I'm being prosecuted to show support for the Uvalde school shooter, to show support for the harm of innocent children. And I don't agree with that. And so the government just keeps going with it. And I'm like, how is this possible? Um, uh, where and how do I get a record of my servitude to the United States Constitution? Where and how do I get anywhere in life? And people, they have so much, as I have so nothing. And so my nothingness is just here amongst myself, just held hostage, just kept um, under a rug that they best can keep me under and hopefully send me to prison. And the way I look at it is, why? Why not just send me to Russia? You know, I bought a one-way ticket to North Korea. I bought multiple round-trip tickets to North Korea. The government took them from me and said, no, one-way ticket. And I've done that more than once. And I was actually told that by Vice President Joe Biden. This was 2010, beginning of July. Could have been the 1st of July, could have been the 2nd, could have been the 30th of June 2010. Who knows? I believe the 4th of July was a Sunday, so if this was a Friday, this was the 2nd of July. Or it could have been the 1st. Could have been Thursday. Who knows? No, I don't remember exactly, but I went through one embassy after that. I went up Embassy Row, Massachusetts Avenue. I went to the Vatican Embassy, and then I left, and then I was crossing the street. Some old dude was like, "Yo, dude." Turned out to be the vice president, Joe Biden, who's the current president. And then ultimately he told me he's going to send me to North Korea. And I'm like, okay, where's the embassy? I'll go. So then I go to the Russian embassy, and then they don't let me go because the Americans are like, oh no, not happening. And I'm like, wow, this is messed up. So how do I get anywhere in life as this government that has so much is not allowing me, who has practically nothing, an ability to live, even though I put my life in danger to protect people. I have no idea who they're going to be. People who are taught that I'm a piece of trash, and I still run that, not away. I still protect the Constitution and do what I can against all threats, foreign and domestic. And these people just shrug it off as if I'm nothing, as if I'm just a product to be disregarded. I don't know how else to say that. So, you know, um, yeah, so here I am. I'm putting this out here to say, hey, um, my name is Kenneth. My legal name is Kenneth Wheeler. I'm a United States intelligence officer, and I'm seeking proof of my service to the United States Constitution. Um, I don't know how to get it. Allegedly, it's classified, and I don't know if you call it I'm lost, I'm stuck, but so much is going on. There's so many people in my life who attack me for my eye color, saying they're my friends. And some of them claim to be in the United States Marine Corps and have served in Afghanistan. Yet they attack me standing alongside those who claim that people of my eye color must be harmed and murdered and executed and destroyed. And it's everywhere. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And yep, that's it. What do I do when so many people claim to be my friends and to be my allies, yet they target me for my eye color? And they also claim to be Marines. You know, um, it, what does one do? What does one uh, do when there's such activity in reality that one can no longer live safely due to the fact that they serve the United States Constitution, and there are those who set out to harm American children and harm those who are willing to put their life in danger to protect American children, such as myself, and then to prosecute me to cover up their harm. When I was in the Denver City Council meeting, I was confronting people in reality, and one person who was there stated that they were funding the assault rifle. There was a person, I think his name was Jamie Bates and Brian Loma. And Brian Loma was saying that he was funding the assault rifle for the Uvalde school shooter, and that Jamie Bates and Brian Loma were plotting harming Jamie Bates' son, basically raping and murdering him and framing me for it. And I guess that may have happened, but they weren't able to frame me for it. And so Jamie Bates committed suicide in Florida. And then the Denver City Council gave a whole bunch of money to Brian Loma. And I'm like, how is this possible? How can they just fund all these people and then prosecute me? And oh yeah, there's a shooting at the Table Mesa King Soopers grocery store in Boulder City, Boulder County, Colorado. And the prosecutors told me about it before it happened and told me that if I show up to try to stop it, they'll still go in there and shoot people and frame me for it and blame me for it. And I'm like, wow, how is this real? How is any of this possible? And they just shrug it off like it's nothing, like, ah, ha, 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 we got you. You cannot stop us. We are going to constantly harm Americans, and you are going to have to deal with it. And there's nothing you could do to stop us, the government, from supporting the harm of Americans and just shrugging it off and calling it job security. And I'm like, how can you call that job security? That's messed up, yo. And they're just like, oh, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, yo, dude, this is so messed up. What do I do and who do I talk to and how do I get support and protection? I've repeatedly reported whatever I could before it happened. In the state of Colorado, I reported Columbine before it happened. And then they wanted to prosecute me for slander against the Columbine killers. And then they went on and fucking killed, part of my language, a funking, you know. killing spree and murdered a whole bunch of kids. Right? And then James Holmes, same thing. They wanted to prosecute me for threatening James Holmes. Then James Holmes gets prosecuted for murdering like a dozen people and shooting 70 at a movie theater. And then the Sandy Hook massacre, and then Uvalde, over and over and over and over and over, That's all they're doing is just dropping the ball, being impotent to perform their duties, being inadequate, inefficient, and ineffective at having value and worth and honoring the lives of American children and stepping up to what they gave an oath to. They basically hung out in a hallway as children were calling them, asking for help. And what did they do? They hung out and they did nothing. And then the ones who weren't even in the hallway, they were out there in the school grounds. The body camera shows them talking about me, talking about my red beard, my long hair, saying my name, Kenneth Royal Wheeler, saying that I'm coming from Denver, joking about it, saying how they're going to murder me and do bad things to my body and shave my beard and all this stuff. And it's just so fucking funky, disgusting that they act that way. And excuse me again if that there was a glitch in the audio and that came off differently. Um, or excuse the audio. So yeah, it's really like annoying and harmful, and disrespectful that I have to be the victim of this unrighteous, unjust, unholy persecution, prosecution, and just trauma, the psychic trauma that these people who are claiming to be authority are targeting me. Uh, Without the proper facilitation and acknowledgement of the United States Constitution and the servitude that I've committed to the United States Constitution. And so they just ignore my servitude to the United States Constitution and decide that, oh, well, we don't care about your servitude. Oh, well, we don't care that you ran at, not away. Oh, well, we don't care that you have repeatedly placed your life on the line, repeatedly placed your life in jeopardy to perform where others have repeatedly been impotent, inadequate, unable, ineffective to perform. And then instead of this proper and true recognition in an open repository of record that I've been able to perform and they have not, and they've repeatedly stepped in front of my way to perform, all they do is continue to try to sweep it under the rug, call me a criminal, and go about their life as if they are properly, effectively performing, which they are not. So here I am, being prosecuted to show support for the death of innocent school children by the people of the state of Colorado. Here I am, again, requesting aid and comfort from anybody who's ever given an oath and or affirmation to the United States Constitution. When do I get assistance? When do I get aid and comfort? When do I get help? Why is it anybody won't ever look at the factual basis of reality and acknowledge the truth? Instead, what do I get the majority of the time? I get people who just shun away from the truth and call me a criminal. Think about the most recent time I reported the Uvalde school shooting. The people of the state of Colorado told me they're going to prosecute me to show support for the death of American school children. I think that's wrong. I don't think I should be prosecuted in the state of Colorado. That's conflict of interest. There should be a change of venue and a change of jurisdiction. I should not be here. Prosecute me in Texas. Prosecute me in Washington, D.C. You know? Not in the state of Colorado. I do not understand how I can be prosecuted in the state of Colorado When prosecutors taking part in the prosecution of me have stabbed me with a syringe full of poison and who knows what other chemicals caused a stroke. The judge has called me a blue-eyed N-word. The judge has pointed a gun at me. One prosecutor signed off on a hate parade to support the Uvalde school shooter. There's so much the terrorism and illegal activity that's going on, and nobody's listening to me. Nobody's hearing me. Nobody is recognizing. And I'm asking for aid and comfort. I'm asking for real law enforcement, such as the federal government. Why isn't the federal government stepping in and just crushing, owning, getting people, arresting them, and putting them away? Executing them, aid and comfort to the enemy, material support, you know? Think about that. People could walk down the street and wear ISIS armbands and have a hate parade supporting a school shooter after a school shooting happened and suffer no consequences and just target Americans over and over and over and over. And I can't leave, yet I'm being prosecuted where people think that I should be sent to prison due to the fact that I have put my life in jeopardy to protect innocent American children. And now I'm being targeted over and over. I get targeted by people who don't like my eye color over and over. I go to a place called Janet's Kitchen, and then there's a group of people who just target me. One for my servitude to the United States Constitution, some for my eye color, some because I don't support the harm of American children. It's constant everywhere I go. It's nonstop, yo. And I cannot get away from it. And I ask over and over, what is going on? And well, here I am. And so, if anybody can hear this, if anybody can recognize this, please, there's multiple judges, multiple prosecutors. Call them, talk to them, ask them what's going on. Talk to the public defenders, ask them what's going on. Why are they not facilitating my rights? Why are they not protecting my rights? Why are they not effectively, adequately representing me and my rights? Why are they not committing due diligence? I'm a United States intelligence officer. There are to be motions uh, for the dismissal based upon my qualified immunity. I do not understand how all this can be flagrantly ignored and criminally flaunted. I don't know how else to say that. And so here I am, sitting here wondering, like, what's the next step of reality? Which way is any way going to happen that's going to be a benefit? So someone like me can walk down the street and be safe and secure in my rights, my person, my possession, my effects, my property, my rights, and my eye color. So, um, that's where I'm at right now. And what do I do? Where do I go? The government wants to put me in prison, and I'm like, why? And they're like, oh, we're calling you a criminal, and I'm like, how? And they're saying all these different like background checks, and I'm like, yo, dude, that's because of my eye color. I cannot get a job because of my background check. And it was Judge Brian Flynn who even told me, he's like, yeah, we're going to put this on your background because of your eye color, so you can never have a job in America. It repeatedly, I was informed about that. And so, what do I do as, a child of a mother whom I love, who wants and needs the proper recognition before the United States Constitution? And I have nothing. I'm getting nothing. I have no recognition. So here I am, and I ask that the United States Marine Corps give me aid and comfort and assistance in receiving recognition before the United States Constitution with all my rights, all my privileges, all my immunities. How do I say no to recognizing what I have earned, not just in combat, in intelligence gathering operation, in training others? I graduated first, top of my class from the best cybersecurity school in the world, and I can't even get a job because of my background. There's no way I can get anything done because the way that the government treats me due to my eye color. And here I am, pleading, you know, um, when in the course of human events it becomes to the necessity to cast off the political bonds that hold one person to another in order to form a more perfect union. Yeah, I can't even remember it all, but think about it right there, Right there. Here, I'll look it up. Guantanamo. What does the Declaration of Independence start with? Oh, not listening. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separation and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizations, its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object evinces of designs to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards to their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having a direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let these facts be submitted to a candid world. So you go off over and over and over, right? To have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. and for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. So, there's all that. Yeah, here I am, wondering how do I get proof of my service to the Constitution? How do I acknowledge a reality that I have committed when others cannot, whether or not it's classified? That is the issue that I'm having, and I have to go through a competency evaluation again. Um, and I have no idea what this one's about. I believe it's because I stated that I'm being prosecuted to show support for the Uvalde school shooter, which is the second time I've stated this in the second competency evaluation I've had to take. So here I am, wondering how do I get proof of my service to the Constitution? I'm a Marine in the United States Clandestine Services. I'm an intelligence officer. I, the government is covering up everything, not committing the open repository of record that I need, that I require to facilitate factual reality of who I am, of my service, my courage, my honor, my commitment, as I'm constantly being targeted by people who are willing to stab me with a syringe, who are willing to hunt me down for my eye color, you know? So here I am. And it says I'm 50 minutes into this. And I'm like, wow. So if you make it this far into this, hopefully you do. And hopefully you know of some means, some way of me being able to get a record of my service to the Constitution and present it publicly, factually, to reality to show who in fact I am, Yeah. And that's what I have going on. And that's what I have to deal with. And I've requested assistance so much. I sent letters. I make these videos. Roughly an hour ago, I actually laid down in bed and was just thinking, yeah, I'm going to take a nap. And I was like, man, how do I get proof of my service to the Constitution? How do I even see what's going on with this? I've never really tried Facebook live streaming. Um, I don't know if it works. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then from there, yeah, I'm just constantly being targeted and taken advantage of. And, and people think it's funny and acceptable. And over and over, uh, the government allows it. You know, they're like Judge Adam Espinosa. He allows, encourages violence against me with who was that, Corey Dillon, the prosecutor, um, and then the other prosecutors and the other judges. I'm just wondering, like, how is this possible? You know, over and over and over, and I just don't understand how they can flagrantly flaunt off their association of criminal activity. I have to go pee so bad. And how is it possible that they can do that and just flagrantly flaunt off their association and support for for the harm of American school children, and think that nothing wrong it has happened when they point a gun at me, when they stab me with a syringe, and think that they're not committing a crime, you know, but yet I must be sent to prison for something I didn't do, for some record that's not actually mine, that's been sealed and expunged numerous times. Yeah. So, you know, here I am. Um, it looks like we're 55 minutes into it. We're about 56 minutes into it. My name's Kenneth Wheeler. If you're a Marine, if you have any loyalty to the United States Constitution, I guess it's kind of shitty for me to say, but I still have loyalty to the Constitution, you know. Sometimes I'm not in the best of mental state. I run my mouth, I talk shit, and I think we all do, you know. I'll be honest with you, I was drafted. I was drafted at the age of 14. I'm a child soldier, and I've done what I could to run at, not away. I've done what I could to be truthful with an open repository of record. I've done what I could to stand up for what I believe is right, even though I get trampled when I do so. And the government allows this trampling, and the government encouraged this trampling, and the government just continues to fund and train others to trample. And it's very heartbreaking, very, very um, traumatic. I mean, I have psychic trauma stress disorder, and that's the life I live. So once that's the life I live, that's what I got to deal with, and that's just how it is. So I'm gonna call it. You know, I want to thank you all for watching. Those of you who watched, thank you. I appreciate you for watching, and yeah. Oh, I just scratching my legs because I gotta go pee and I'm waiting around. It's been an hour, 57 minutes. So yeah, everybody, thank you. Hoorah. Um, Deliani Senciella. Um, peace. Love you. Deliani Senciella. End live video. If you end this live video now, you'll be able to choose if you want to save or delete it.